Guys, a funny story. I tried to record this video on YouTube, right? And I was so excited about it. Everything happens for a reason. So earlier on, I tried to call my husband, right? I was trying to trick him into recording a video with me that I was going to post on YouTube. And so I had to connect, the phone that's recording to the microphone, right? Which uses the type C. But then I had another phone that I was to call my husband through. Cut the long story short, I had done the wrong connection and I wasn't going to be aware of it. So that means whatever my husband was going to say, nobody was going to hear it, right? But then, right as I was about to record, my phone says 15%. And of course, I'm like, oh, this is so frustrating. This is upsetting. I've done everything I should have, and it's still one more thing. And then it hit me. The only resistance you get is when you're on a path that you shouldn't be on. If you're on a path that you should be on, everything goes well. And so I stopped complaining and I was like, all right, now let me charge the phone. And then I was like, okay, for me to charge my phone, I still need the same type C slot on my phone. That means I have to disconnect the microphone. And I was like, wow, I told my husband I'll call him in 5 minutes and now my phone has to charge first. That's not fair. And then it occurred to me, yeah, you can just plug the microphone on the other phone. And I was like, oh, thank you for that resistance, because it solved both problems. That's on a really micro level. On a serious note, whatever kind of problem you're going through, think outside the box, because there's a reason. I know the box says, oh, I'm suffering, oh, I'm going through all this, oh, poor me, but get outside that box and say, my God would not allow me to suffer for nothing. There's a reason, and the reason is good, because his promises to me are that I will prosper and I'm doing everything right in my life based on my understanding. Okay, because I don't want people arguing what's right, what's not, based on my understanding. So honestly, rethink it. Rethink it outside the box, not inside the box. And what's a good way to rethink things outside the box? Not, let's imagine that situation has hit you right now. You go into the automatic mode. Oh my God, I'm so upset. I'm so angry. I can feel my energy just lowering. But then think again, say, you know what, think again, rethink it, because the first thought was not accurate. For anything that's causing your energy to deplete, the first thought is not always accurate. It's very limited in perspective, very limited in perspective. And trust me, it's important for you to broaden your perspective, to see things from a different point of view, to step into a different perspective and see the same thing from a different angle. It's important, because you can't go making judgment based on one thing. You have to at least have a pro and con. If you just have pros, well, obviously you're biased. You need to have your pros and cons in place, like the reason why I should and the reasons why I shouldn't. And so this helps you rethink. And that's why it's okay to say, you know what, let me think about it. Because you might be giving me information from one perspective and you might be a very good salesman. And I might get myself into something that I'm actually not needing or not wanting. But because you understand the psychology of the subconscious mind, you will come and try to sell this to me very fast. As a matter of fact, if I say no, not today, oh, I'll even give you an offer. But what's the offer about? The offer is not to get you that item cheaper. The offer is to trick your mind into just making random, fast decisions. But you're not an animal. You are given the mind, so utilize it. Learn to use it. Exercise it. Because if you can call BS on someone's words at small conversations, you'll be able to call BS at someone's word on a larger scale. So if you can understand your neighbor's BS and call it out, you keep practicing that muscle in your mind to just, okay, this is what they're telling me they're doing, but I want to know, why are they really doing it? Because the intention is everything. And once you understand that intention is everything, you will not be upset as much. Listen, the things that trigger you because of how you are brought up. So I might, come here chewing gum and you're getting upset that I'm chewing gum, right? But it's because you were taught that chewing gum is rude, especially when you're talking. But sometimes some people just want to get rid of a bad taste in the mouth. So you have to come and ask me, Fidelis, I really get offended when you chew gum in front of me. You're calling me out on that BS. But then I'm looking at you and thinking, oh, I'm sorry it offends you. Now that I know that, I'll not do it around you. Doesn't mean I won't do it. But I won't do it around you because I value you as a friend. But let me give you the reason why I chew gum. And then now you understand my perspective. So after that interaction, the next person that you're going to go talk with that's also chewing gum, you will come to them now with the understanding that some people might want to chew gum because maybe they want to get rid of bad smell in their mouth. When you approach them, you will let them know, oh, I always get triggered by people that chew gum when they're talking, and I know some people chew it to get rid of that taste in their mouth. And so I'm also learning to unlearn what I was taught because it's no longer serving me. Because let me tell you, everybody has the right to do whatever they want. I'm not kidding. Everybody has the right to do whatever they want, but they all have consequences. And of course, it's consequences with varying degree. But never at any one point should you go to someone else and feel the need to impose your ideas, your beliefs, your way of life onto them. It's not fair. And why do I say it's not fair? Because in my generation, our parents were very serious on making sure that they were producing photocopies. And so what I'm saying is, if your parent was black and white, they wanted to replicate the same thing, but now in color. What I'm trying to say here is, if your parent was equivalent to a book typed up in black on the background of white, so it's black and white, they wanted to reproduce the same book in color. But then adding that color brought this generation to a different level. It's like, yes, we understand where you came from. And it's my generation saying, you know what, mom and dad, I understand where you're coming from. It was not easy. Your upbringing was not easy at all. And my God, am I glad that I didn't have to go through the things you went through. But this is what you need to understand. Like 70 years before we gained independence in my country, those ancestors were slaves. They were forced to work in plantations. They were forced to work as donkeys. They were pulling carriages like donkeys, carrying people, pulling carriages, or what would you call them, donkey carts? There was a time there was even an order that just shoot. If you find anyone out, just shoot. So imagine living in that constant anxiety, fear, pain. And then just a few years before independence or right after independence, the parents of my generation were born. So they were being born to a country that's about to gain independence, right? The culture was confusing. It was very confusing, obviously. We had not been used to ruling ourselves. We had been used to fighting for a very long time. The shock. We just gained independence, my God. And here are the kids of parents who are trying to understand what just happened and what's going to happen. And then they are the kids. And then those kids had kids. But those kids that had kids, they never had time to experiment. They never had time to think for themselves. Then it was just, this is the rule. You're born, you're baptized, you go to school, you graduate, get a white collar job. Because we are done being slaves. I want you to study and get a good position. Be like a mzungu. As a matter of fact, they're rich. Be like them. Work so hard, learn English. And so they did, to the best of their ability. And now, but in the process of all that, they had kids, us. And so we are born at a time where, okay, I can go to whatever school I want. You know what I mean? It's just, wow, we are really free. And that freedom of choice allowed us to now think and be like, so what just happened? How did we get here? We have that spirit in us. But there's one thing you have to remember. Those people that were held captive, made slaves in their own country, had their relatives killed, suffered under the power of the British. We still have that spirit in us. And I'll tell you this, people that don't understand history are bound to repeat it. In the past, in my community, there was this hand down of information from one generation to the next. You would sit around with people and discuss things, pass information, give history by word of mouth. But there came a time where our culture was demonized. Our ancestors were not convinced. Our ancestors were not convinced to convert to Christianity. They were forced. Remember, we had bows and arrows. They had guns. And if they've killed 6 people that you know of, are you really going to go against it? Our natural instinct is to survive. You want to fit in, especially when you've seen someone else get killed or heard someone else got killed for doing that. Then you won't want to do it. And so it was forbidden. You were not allowed to practice demonic rituals that used to bring rain. That information was no longer being handed down. So let me give you an example. In the past, before colonization, if one person had the information and they shared it with 50 other people, then 50 people now have the information and they'll share it to 100 other people each. And so in the end, it's just everywhere and it's normal and it's okay and it's understandable and we are okay. But then now it's been forbidden. It's been demonized. Don't talk about it. Don't gather to talk about these things. If you have problems, go to Jesus. Do you know every religion out there, the people that they look up to actually look like them? Is Jesus' hair like ours? Is his skin like ours? Whatever is depicted. Go to the Chinese gods. They're Chinese. Go to the Indian. They're Indian. Go to the white people. They're white. I mean, we fell for it, but we didn't fall for it because of ignorance. We fell for it because we were afraid. We were terrified. But then remember, nothing happens just to happen. Everything has a reason. And you know what? We got the railways, we got the roads, we got technology, we got electricity, we got medication, we got education. It was the starting point of better ways to do things, so we are not always so tired and so sickly. For an example, I can say right now, it's very wonderful as a mother not having to spend my time washing clothes. I can just put it in the laundry machine. So in a sense, I'm not getting tired from that. And the energy that I would have used towards washing clothes, I'm going to use it towards expanding my perspective, expanding my understanding, working on my consciousness, which is actually the return of Christ. But again, that's a topic for another day. And so what I'm trying to say is, don't suppress that piece of you. You need to give that piece of you some time to think and evaluate and understand itself. It can be 10 minutes a day just to yourself. Then it can be 15 minutes a day. Then it can be 20 minutes a day. And trust me, you'll start to enjoy it. Then it will be 30 minutes a day. Then it will be 35 minutes a day. And then it's okay if you just want to be alone in a quiet room. But to get there, you have to start seeking to understand. Reducing your arguments by trying to figure out what's the intention and can I explain myself better. My rule is if I'm in a conversation and I'm not satisfied, if I feel like there's a truth of mine that I haven't spoken up, I will make sure to say it. So an example, if someone came in here, and they're telling me, oh, Fidelis, I don't like the way you dress, and wait, am I wearing my clothes for you? Do you buy my clothes? Am I stopping you from wearing your clothes? Okay, well then I guess I don't know what your problem is. Maybe you need to find out why it bothers you how I dress. But that's up to you. But I'm just letting you know that I don't dress to impress you. I don't dress to whatever it is your mind might be telling you. I wear whatever I want because I want to. It's a choice that I make as Fidelis. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only one me, myself and I. So allow me to live my life. It's not rude, but it's explaining yourself, speaking your truth, always seeking to teach, and always eager to learn. And so today I actually have a special guest. It's my husband. And he doesn't like social media. So I will call him as a trick. I will keep this on. And if he doesn't want me to post it, then I won't post this part on. But if he wants me to post it, you'll get to at least be part of it. So in Kenya right now, it's probably 5 in the morning. Here it's 11:13. I'm so sleepy. But I really, I got so motivated and I got so inspired and I felt this needs to come out. It needs to come out today. That kind of a thing. All right, let me give him a call.